Both of you. Sara, I do want to start with you. As an immigration attorney, I'm sure you've seen many, sadly, situations like that. It really just shows you the pain that this mother is dealing with, but also gives a sense of how much more tragedy and pain they may have left behind in order to do this sort of crossing.
Yes, thank you so much for having us and for covering this important issue. Migrants often are coming to the United States because of the dangerous situations in their home countries. And they know that the journey is dangerous. They're not taking this journey lightly. They know there are risks. It's very costly for people to make the trip. So, in the work that we do, the vast majority of people are coming for asylum, and the vast majority of them do really have threats to their lives and well-being in their home countries, whether that's Central America or somewhere else in the world.
And Allie, in the meantime, the images that we're seeing from the border are simply heartbreaking for many folks. What do they evoke in you?
Well, it's a reminder that this is ultimately about people. Whether we're talking on television or in Washington, D.C., oftentimes it just feels like it's happening in another world. But in reality, it is happening whether it's in the United States or literally within steps of the United States. And, we really think that the Biden administration needs to move forward to establish the infrastructure, the logistics, and the processes so that people can go through a system and make sure that their cases are heard in a fair and just and in a timely way. And that, we hope, will reduce the likelihood of tragedies like this, which are just awful.
Yeah. And there is, let's be frank, there is always a spring surge when it comes to the sort of migration. But this is the worst that we have seen in several years. And President Biden denied that the migrants are actually crossing over in record numbers because he's a nice guy. Here's what he told reporters just 2 days ago.
I guess I should be flattered. People are coming because I'm the nice guy. 28% increase in children to the border in my administration. Does anybody suggest that there was a 31% increase under Trump because he was a nice guy? The reason they're coming is that it's the time they can travel with the least likelihood of dying on the way because of the heat in the desert. They're coming because of the circumstances in country.
Okay, but he pointed his finger at the Trump administration for the issue of the border. Is it one that Biden inherited, or where does the blame lie right here?
The blame really lies with the weak governments in Central America and other locations. The gang violence, the lack of security, and ability to go to a police that's functioning, that's not corrupt, the ability to seek justice with the court system is effectively non-existent in Central American countries where the majority of people are coming from. It is worth noting that under the Trump administration, about a year ago on March 20th, the government decided that for public health reasons, individuals are going to be turned away or expelled once entering the U.S. And that's still true for adults. The unaccompanied children, however, were permitted in November of last year by court order out of Washington, D.C. To still enter the country and have their cases processed. And during the time that we had been expelling unaccompanied children, we built up a backlog of close to 10,000. And so those kids are now the ones that are coming in.
Okay.
So that explains, in addition to the reasons that we've already mentioned, that explains some of why we're seeing higher numbers right now.
All right. Well, thank you for that explainer. I'm going to have to leave it there with Sara and Allie. Thank you guys so much for being here on this Saturday morning.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.